Hey everybody, welcome back to Dave's Open Range. Today we're going to work on a chainsaw in the kitchen. Nah, just kidding. I'm going to have a little video on how to sharpen a chainsaw by hand, and I forgot to say a few things, so a quick intro. And who doesn't love a chainsaw in the kitchen, huh? So you have to, what I forgot to say in the video that's going to start in a minute, I forgot to say it's critical you have the right size file. There's not that many different sizes, but there's 3 to 5 different sizes, and it has to be the exact fit, obviously. So the file has to sit into the mouth of the tooth, the mouth of the tooth just right, or you're not going to get an appropriate grind on each tooth. And they're not expensive. I'm not sure how much, but 10 bucks give or take. Maybe 15, I'm not sure, but not that expensive, and it needs to be clean, and don't use it for other stuff that's going to ruin it and get it dull and so forth. So dedicate the file to the saw. I show in the video there's a place in the chainsaw case to keep the file, so you sort of can't lose it. But get yourself a set of the different kinds. There are markings on the bar. You can't see it. It's on this side of the bar that indicates what size the chain is. Or just go to the store, take the chain with you, whatever. But the point is, make sure you've got the right file. Keep it clean. You can't sharpen it, but just keep it clean, keep it dedicated to your particular chain and your saw. And let's get started with the video. Good luck with this. You can do it. It's not complicated. It's quick. I do it in real time. It's 4 or 5 minutes, as you see. And sometimes people put the bar of the chainsaw or the whole chainsaw in a vise and all that fancy ways to keep the saw immobilized and so forth. But you see in the video, I'm doing it on the tailgate of a truck, holding it by hand, keeping it stable. It works just fine, and I haven't had a problem with it. I've probably done it hundreds of times, and never really an issue. All right, let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to Dave's Open Range. Today we're going to sharpen a chainsaw with just a simple file. In case you don't know or seen, there's a nice little spot in your steel case, or whatever kind of case you have. There's usually a slot for your file. So I know there's 100 gadgets and different kind of jigs for holding the file and stuff, but I've had good luck just doing it freehand. And as you know, the trick to keeping something sharp is to sharpen it often and don't wait till it gets too dull. So yesterday I was using this, and I was in the dirt a little bit, cutting out a log that had been frozen into the ground, so it had into the dirt a little bit, and so it needs a little touch up. So I'm going to just do this in real time so that you see it doesn't take forever. I'll probably shut the camera off so I can switch the blade around, or the saw, reorient the saw for the camera. But I'll just point out too that usually there's 2 teeth that are oriented in the same direction, and I use those as a guide to know where I've been and where to stop. So we'll just start on those 2 teeth. Glove in my hand so I can just stabilize the bar. And then I just long, easy stroke, putting a little bit of pressure towards the mouth of the tooth just to get a good file. And I'm going to do 3 strokes on each tooth, and I can see there's a little bit of filing coming off, so I know I'm taking off just a touch of metal. And I know the saw on the bar is going to jostle around a tiny bit, but that's okay. I've been doing this for a lot of years, and it has not been a problem. Now, I don't cut trees bigger than probably 20 inches, maybe 30 tops, so I'm sure on a western sized log, if you don't get both sides of the chain sharpened, I'm losing count, maybe that's 4. If you don't get both sides of the chain sharpened sort of exactly equally, your cut can drift to the left or to the right on a great big log. But I haven't had that trouble with anything I've cut, and I've cut some trees that are probably pushing 30 inches or more, which is hard with this saw that has an 18-inch bar. So once you get into a little bit of rhythm and find that sweet spot on the chain, now I'm already back to where I started, so I'm going to shut the camera off and just spin the saw around so I can orient myself differently, and we'll keep going. Okay, that just took me 30 seconds or a minute just to flip the saw around on the tailgate. Tailgate's the best place to do a lot of different jobs. You all know that. A lot of different jobs have been done on on my truck tailgate. And I just moved the camera around. So I wasted about a minute doing that in terms of real time. So this direction is honestly a little bit, so there's my two teeth are in the same little connector landmark. This direction's a little easier for me because I'm doing it right-handed. And I can sort of put the saw under my arm and stabilize it. So just 3 strokes. The chain's not real bad, but I know I hit the dirt more than a couple times yesterday trying to get something out. A big tree that was honestly the biggest tree I've ever cut. It was a silver maple. It was probably honestly 4 feet in diameter, and it was hard to cut it a couple years ago, well 10 years ago when I did, with this undersized saw. But I got it down, and it had been, the main log had been laying in the ground for over 10 years, and it was sunk in and frozen in, and so I sort of had no choice without a bulldozer and so forth. Had no choice but to get this saw down into the dirt a little bit. So when I know I've dulled it like that, I just touch it up right away so I don't get it in a situation where it's so dull that it doesn't cut well, or it's just irritating and frustrating to cut. Can also point out on some chains, I don't usually rely on it, but there's a little tick mark on the teeth that shows you the angle about which you can orient your file, but it's sort of self-evident by the orientation of the cutting mouth in the tooth. So that's it. I'm back to the beginning. That's all the time it took, 4 or 5 minutes, and I'm going to quit right there. But I'm happy it's you can feel that it feels like pretty much a new chain. This chain is about a year old, and I suppose I sharpen each chain I don't know, 30, 40, 50 times before I take so much metal off that the chain's getting a little bit, the teeth are getting a little small. So I don't have a problem sharpening a chain dozens and dozens of times. But a new chain's only 30 or 40 bucks tops, so no big deal to replace them. But it's not fun using a chainsaw that's not sharp, so I do like to keep them sharp. It's just more fun. It's arguably more safe, and just all around more effective. That's it for today. I'm not sure what's going to happen next on Dave's Open Range, but you never know. So stay tuned in, and don't forget to hit subscribe. See you next time.